Hi everybody. I want to talk about the different vibrations that we have, the vibration of our aura. I'm talking about the aura in particular. When we first start out, we'll come in and we'll be born and we'll have quite a high vibration. But even within that, everyone will come in with a different vibration. The reason this happens is because you've had other lives and done other work on yourselves. Perhaps you've had a lot of lives where you've done a lot of spiritual work, and so your vibration already was quite high on a soul level. So when you came back in this life, you would have already been vibrating, say if it was out of 10, you're already vibrating at an 8. Other people's vibration will be lower spiritually because they're not working on those sort of aspects of their psyche. Therefore, when they come in, they might come in vibrating at a 3. I'm not talking about the health of the aura, because when we're sick, or before we pass, our vibration of the actual aura will be quite low. That's why we got sick, and that's why we're going to pass. That's more a physicality situation. I'm just talking about it from a spiritual perspective and that kind of energy. The reason that it's important is because when we are with different people, we're all vibrating at different rates. You will find that if you are with someone who's vibrating spiritually at a similar rate to you, the relationship will be quite easy. The depth will also be greater. The amount of subjects you can talk about is more. The understandings between you of things is more. There's more openness within those relationships because you're both vibrating around the same rate. So, for example, if you're both vibrating at about an 8 out of 10, say, because we need some kind of gauge when I'm doing this podcast, you'll find that you relate quite easily to that person. Everything's simple and there's no stress, and you can be more of yourself with that person. You can actually be everything that you are because they can also then be everything they are. However, if you're now going out with another person or you have someone else in your family or social grouping that's vibrating at a 4 spiritually and you're doing an 8, when you're with them, it will feel different. In some ways, they might feel a little intimidated by you because your vibration's high, and when we vibrate high, I think it can actually irritate other people. I don't have another word for it, but it's like because we're vibrating high, they find it hard in some ways perhaps to be with us because of the high vibration. Of course, if we're full of love and compassion, there's a nice benefit for them because they will feel that energy and also the healing energy in us. They'll feel that and they'll benefit from that as well. The reason it's important to have a clear understanding of this is to start to work out your friendship groupings and your family groupings and where everyone's vibrating. You'll have a sense of this. Usually it's about what you can speak about. If you start talking about spiritual work or what you're doing and you can feel the stonewalling effect, the shutdown effect, you know now you can't go there, then they're probably vibrating in a different space to you. They will also find it easier to be with people who vibrate with them. So within your family or social groupings, if there's a lot of 3s or 4s, those people will clump together because they will actually be more comfortable because it will vibrating at the same rate. Therefore, no one's going to get irritated by someone else. You can also go the other way, that you will find it very difficult to be with people who are vibrating differently to you. I always have to alter myself somewhat. I tend to try and be a lot more human, talk about human things, like we talk about curtains or renovations or something on the news, rather than some of my little obscure subjects I like to talk about. So I just put them away for the time being and leave them home, and then we go out and we just talk normal stuff. However, I'm still vibrating at a high rate, and they will still be affected, and they're still vibrating at a lower rate. When I say this high and low, I don't do it with ego or judgment. It's just the choice we've made spiritually. And some people have made the choice to ascend spiritually, and so it will bring their vibration up. Others are doing different things this life, or it's not going to be something they particularly want to do. You will find that as you ascend, Spirit will often send you other people into your life who are actually on a similar journey. On Path 4, I've done a podcast on the paths, and you might find that interesting. Therefore, when you're with these people, it's really comfortable. And the conversation just goes on for ages, and all of a sudden you're looking at your watch going, oh my God, we've been here for 3 hours, I've got to go. So it has a completely different feel to it. There's no stress in finding conversation. It just flows from one thing to another. And no subjects are barred. So if you're doing some interesting spiritual work or energy work, it's okay, you can talk about that. And you won't get that look that but they look at you like you're some weirdo or something, or something crazy. It's because we're just on different paths and we're doing different things. Sometimes you might find, I know this sounds strange, but children who are quite psychic are very drawn to you, and they actually want to be with you and spend time with you, and there's actually quite a strong connection, and that's because they're vibrating probably at the rate you are. They might have come down to do some special work, and there's sometimes coming with high vibration. As I've said before, the young ones who are coming in now are already vibrating higher than we possibly did. They sort of have a head start. You might have very good relationships with young people rather than the older ones. I've noticed that most of my friends are sometimes 20 years younger than me, and people I'm talking to are sometimes even, I could be their mum. I've got used to it, and I didn't really understand why. But now I do. It's because the people in my age group, from their 60s, 70s, 80s, their vibration for most of those people is not where I'm at. And as I've worked on myself more and more, my vibration has actually gone up. They're tailing off their life, and I'm like getting started on the next project, so to speak. When you are out, you might find that a friend of mine used the word intimidate. I didn't really like that word, but I do think that people don't quite know what to do with us. They know we're different. They know we're coming from another space because they can feel it as well. Often they're quite fascinated by us, but they can also be a little scared. People are actually a bit scared of people like me, readers and clairvoyants and mediums. I think they think that someone once told me that you can read my mind. And I said I couldn't read her mind. And then I said, it's not like I know that you had muesli and orange juice for breakfast. And she just said, I had muesli and orange juice for breakfast. So I just laughed because I didn't know what else to say. It's sort of hilarious, really. It just kind of worked out that way. Just keep working on yourself. Don't think that being with them and talking about curtains is dumbing yourself down. You're just trying to make it more comfortable. And the way I see it is, with my spiritual friends, I'm mostly coming from my soul, and I speak to them from my soul. And we tend not to talk about human things. That's how you can tell, because you don't know the things you're supposed to normally know, like they bought a new car or they're going on a holiday. You don't talk because you don't talk about those things very much. However, the people who are vibrating in a different space to you, those conversations will be much more human, and they will be around daily life and practical considerations. And that's how you can tell the difference. It's also how you can go out and not lose yourself, but just put that little bit aside so it's a little bit more comfortable for everybody. Because, if it's more comfortable and we can make it easier for them, I don't have a problem doing that. When I first started doing this work, I didn't quite know how to handle it because I wanted to be my authentic self, but then I would make people feel a bit scared of me or uncomfortable. So I learned that to be my whole self with my spiritual friends, and then just be the other part of me. It was still me, but I left that little bit aside. Of course, occasionally it will pop out and there's nothing you can do about it. You'll get a message, just comes out your mouth, and halfway through the sentence you're like, I can't stop it now. And then you just move on, because they actually know that you're like this, and on a soul level they know. It's just that they want to relate on a human level. I hope you can work this out. Don't think that by being less soul when you're with the human ones, you are not respecting the work that you do or where you're at. You're making it work in the human world, because we live down here in quite heavy density. The energy is quite dense here. We just come down, bring it down a bit, go in the energy, and then when we leave, we just be all of ourselves. It's an interesting one, the different vibrations. I was speaking to someone yesterday on the phone. I was doing a reading, and I was trying to explain it to her, like with a situation she had. One of the people she was trying to deal with, it was like she was on the 6th floor of a high-rise building and they are on the 2nd floor, and they're trying to talk to each other. And that's a good way to look at it, that you can't really get that kind of close relationship because you're vibrating in different spaces. Look around, see who's who, and work it out. Maybe do it differently so everyone's comfortable. Sending you lots of love and light, and I hope it's a nice week for you.